Remember that time when things were kind of normal? Yeah, me neither. But buckle up, Buttercup, because things just got real in the wacky world of global trade. President Trump, in all his wisdom, decided to slap tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Why? Because, America first and all that jazz. He claimed it was about protecting American jobs and industries. But let's be honest, it's more about throwing his weight around and making headlines. The problem is, slapping tariffs on allies like the EU and Canada isn't like winning a game of Monopoly. It's more like throwing a grenade into a china shop. It creates chaos, breaks things, and leaves everyone wondering what the hell just happened. Predictably, the EU and Canada weren't too thrilled about these tariffs. They saw it for what it was, a slap in the face and a threat to their own economies. The EU, not known for mincing words, called Trump's tariffs illegal and protectionist. Canada, usually the polite neighbor to the north, was equally pissed off. They called the tariffs unacceptable and unjustified. Let's be real, folks, when Canada starts throwing around words like unacceptable, things are getting serious, the EU and Canada weren't going to take this lying down. They decided to hit back, and they hit back hard. They announced retaliatory tariffs on a whole bunch of American goods. This was their way of saying, two can play this game, buddy. And just like that, a trade war was brewing. So what did the EU and Canada target with their retaliatory tariffs? Well, they went for products that would hurt. We're talking bourbon whiskey, motorcycles, orange juice, and even playing cards. Yep, playing cards, because nothing says trade war like messing with someone's poker night. The idea was to hit American businesses where it hurts their wallets. And it wasn't just about the products themselves, it was about sending a message. The EU and Canada were telling Trump that his protectionist policies wouldn't go unanswered. They were willing to fight fire with fire, even if it meant a full-blown trade war. Now, you might be thinking, so what? It's just a bunch of tariffs, how bad can it be? Well, my friend, let me tell you, trade wars are no joke. They can have serious consequences for everyone involved. When countries start slapping tariffs on each other's goods, it disrupts the flow of trade. Prices go up, businesses suffer, and consumers end up paying more for everything. And it's not just about the immediate impact. Trade wars can also damage long-term economic growth. They create uncertainty, discourage investment, and can even lead to job losses. Remember, in a globalized world, everyone's economy is interconnected. When one country sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Section 5. The Smoot-Hawley spectre history repeats itself. If you want to understand why trade wars are so scary, you need to look no further than the Great Depression. Back in the 1930s, the US decided to protect its own industries by slapping tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. This was known as the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, and it was a colossal disaster. Instead of helping the American economy, Smoot-Hawley made things way worse. Other countries retaliated with their own tariffs, global trade collapsed, and the world plunged deeper into economic depression. It was a stark reminder that protectionism doesn't work. In fact, it often backfires spectacularly. Section 6. Global trade on edge, a house divided. The current trade war might not be as dramatic as Smoot-Hawley yet, but it's still a big deal. It's creating tensions between the US and its closest allies. It's also undermining the rules-based trading system that has underpinned global prosperity for decades. When the world's biggest economy starts throwing its weight around and ignoring the rules, it sends a dangerous message to everyone else. This trade war is also creating uncertainty and volatility in global markets. Businesses don't know what to expect, investors are getting jittery, and consumers are starting to feel the pinch. And let's not forget the geopolitical implications. A trade war with China is one thing, but picking fights with your allies is a whole other level of crazy. Section 7. Beyond tariffs, the bigger picture of protectionism. The thing about trade wars is that they're rarely just about trade. They're often symptoms of deeper problems. In this case, Trump's tariffs are part of a broader trend of rising protectionism and nationalism around the world. From Brexit to the rise of populist leaders, there's a growing backlash against globalization and free trade. This backlash is fueled by a sense of economic anxiety and insecurity. Many people feel left behind by globalization. They see jobs being outsourced, wages stagnating, and inequality rising, and they're looking for someone to blame. Unfortunately, instead of addressing these legitimate concerns, politicians like Trump are exploiting them for their own gain. Section 8. The Art of the Deal, or the Art of the Disaster. Trump fancies himself a master negotiator, the art of the deal kind of guy. But his approach to trade is more like the art of the disaster. He seems to think that trade is a zero-sum game, where one country wins and the other loses, but that's not how it works. Trade, when done right, can be mutually beneficial. It allows countries to specialize in what they do best and trade with each other for goods and services they can't produce as efficiently. The problem is, Trump isn't interested in win-win solutions. He wants to win at all costs, even if it means screwing over his allies and damaging the global economy. His approach to trade is based on bullying, threats, and unilateral action. And let me tell you, that's no way to run a global trading system. Section 9, the future of trade. Can we salvage this wreckage? So, what does the future hold for global trade? It's hard to say for sure. But one thing's for certain, the stakes are high. If this trade war spirals out of control, it could have devastating consequences for the global economy. We could be looking at a future of rising protectionism, shrinking global trade, and increased economic uncertainty. The good news is it's not too late to change course. Sana heads need to prevail. The US needs to abandon its go-it-alone approach and work with its allies to resolve this trade dispute. And we need to address the underlying issues that are driving protectionism in the first place. That means investing in education and job training, addressing income inequality, and ensuring that the benefits of globalization are more widely shared. The future of global trade, and indeed the global economy, may depend on it.